Hello and welcome once again to CanonBlogger.com, home of the Learning Digital Photography podcast. I'm your host Jason Anderson, and I'm reviewing today the Retrospective 7. This is a new camera bag that's just come out from the folks over at Think Tank Photo. They sent one to me to review, so I'm going to take a look through it. I've packed it full of gear so you can see everything that this bag will hold. I'll tell you some of my thoughts on it, some of the pros, some of the cons, and at the end of the review, this is going to actually be given away, well, not at the end of the review, but at the end of the summer. This bag that I'm reviewing right now will be given away to some lucky winner on the Learning Digital Photography podcast, and when in conjunction with one of the monthly giveaways. So stay tuned. We're going to just get started here in just a second. So we've shifted the perspective a little bit just so you can see more about the bag and less of me, which is probably a good thing since this is the bag that's being reviewed and not me. This is the Retrospective 7, so it's about 13 inches wide. It's about 9 inches tall. And if I grab a ruler, you can actually see what I mean when I talk about 9 inches tall. I'll put it on this side so you can see it. Actually, it's probably better if I put it on this side. So it's about 9 inches tall, as you can see there from the ruler. And it's about 13 inches wide. So it's a little bit longer than your average ruler, just so you can kind of gauge the differentiation there. It opens up on the front by way of Velcro straps. So the Velcro straps have a buffering system. This is something new that Think Tank has put in their most recent line of bags. I've taken these Velcro straps and I've kind of used them in conjunction with my Gorilla Pod, which I have inside here. So what I'll do is I will open up the sound buffering straps and I will actually fold them up. So I don't know if you can see me doing that. I'll go a little slower. I'll fold that down, fold that portion up, and I'll pull out my Gorilla Pod and I can set this aside. So I'll just set that in front there. There we go. So with these straps folded up now, this buffering system means the Velcro on Velcro sound won't be as evident when you go to open your bag. You still hear it a little bit, but not nearly as much with these straps, with these Velcro straps all the way open. So it's a pretty neat way to silence things down if you don't want to make a lot of noise, if you're in a quiet area, you don't want to draw attention to yourself. So there's the quiet, and you can see, I don't know if you can see on here right now, but it'll show the quiet is when you have red line through with where it's not quiet actually, and then quiet will be when you can actually see these straps. So if we fold this down now, this is the non-quiet way it opens. So you can see how there might be some pros and cons to using it one way or the other. So the con that I immediately noticed is without the Velcro straps, it opens up pretty easily, which means gear could ostensibly fall out. The downside of having the actually, that is the downside of having the Velcro buffering system down. The upside, obviously, is that it's a lot quieter. Conversely, if you don't use the buffering system, it will close very securely. But then the downside is when you go to open it, it'll be pretty noisy. So take your pick. I prefer having them open. I like having a secure closure, and that way I can also use these as a means of holding my Gorilla Pod. Also worth noting, inside the top flap is a place to hold your business cards. So I've gone ahead and put a few of the Canon Blogger cards inside of there. And why don't we just go ahead and dig in inside the various pockets and portions of the Retrospective 7. So on each end is a little pocket for the bag. So I'm putting my fingers down inside this outer bag, and immediately, I can get my little fingers on this, I pull out a battery caddy, and this is holding my Eneloop batteries. So there's something else that we can hold inside the outer pockets. On the other side, you could hold a water bottle, you could hold memory cards, whatever you want to slide inside an outer shell there for quick and easy access to. That is the only thing I have on the end pockets. So let's take a look at the back pocket. I'll roll this over. That's another thing you can do, is you can roll that over so it just stays top closed. And then one other thing also worth mentioning is the hand strap. So if you want to carry it by hand, you can do it that way as well. So let's turn this around to the back side. In doing so, I'm also revealing to you the shoulder strap, because this is a shoulder bag. So I will mention that here as well. This is very thickly padded. I don't know if you can see how thickly padded that is relative to the rest of the gear inside the shot here. I'm going to go ahead and hold the ruler up, and you can see that that's a full ½ inch thick of padding, or something in that neighborhood. I didn't really measure it. Taking a look, yeah, that's a full ½ inch thick of padding built right into the shoulder strap here. So very wise design on that part. It's got little grips so it won't slip off your shoulder accidentally. Kind of a neat design there from the folks over at Think Tank. So let's get a head start on the back side here. So on the back side, this is long enough because it's 13 inches, so you can hold a 13-inch MacBook Air or possibly even a MacBook Pro. Conversely, you could also hold an iPad. So I went ahead and put my iPad inside there, and it fit in there very nicely. Had good padding on both sides, so I don't have to worry about scratching or damaging it from that. So that's a nice feature as well. So I'll go ahead and flip this back open. And we'll turn this back so you can see the front side of it as I start to unload. So when you unload the outer strap, there's another Velcro enclosure right there. And immediately inside the outer strap is a weatherproof bag. And this is all nicely folded up. I actually folded out because I wanted to see how well it would fit. And this is really nice because this just fits right over the entire Retrospective 7. And this can help keep your gear dry. Very handy if you ever get caught in inclement weather. So you can just put this over the entire bag like so. And that way you can stay protected. And it folds right back up. It's just like a stuff sack. So you can fold this back up. It's got little clips so you can hold it in place. So it would actually go on like so. You would take the clips and clip them over to help keep it in place so you wouldn't ever have to worry about getting your gear wet. But anyway, it just collapses right back down inside of this bag right here. So you just stuff it back up in there. And that way it stays right with your camera bag and you can never lose it. So very handy little outer range shell here. As you can see, it's pretty easy to stuff back up in. You just stuff it back up in. And that's held shut by the Velcro strap as well. Like that flat inside the outer shell. What else can we fit inside this outer shell? Well, I have my little headlamp, so I use this when I go doing night photography. So this goes on my head, and I keep that on the outer shell, so that way I can have quick and easy access to it if it gets dark quickly, because it does get dark quickly in Colorado. Also inside the exterior shell, you could fit other things. I'll kind of hold this up a little bit. I don't want my gear to fall out. But what I can do is fold this over, kind of lean it forward so you can see the amount of space you have inside there. So it extends a good probably 4 inches out, so you can fit other things inside of there as well. I'll go ahead and go to the inner of the two outer straps. So inside the inner portion here, you can fit other more smaller flat things like the Think Tank CF card holder. So this holds, I think, 6 compact flash cards. Got 6 compact flash cards. I've got 5 in there right now. One's in my camera. So that folds up nice and flat and then tucks inside of there. Other things you could put in here would include additional business cards, maybe a lens pen, maybe a notebook. There's little slots inside of here I could show you, but it's going to be probably too dark for the video camera to pick up on that. So I'll just mention that and also put some notes in the blog post when this goes live. The other thing inside this outer flap is this nice little keychain portion here. You can basically put your keys on this, and that way you don't have to worry about losing your keys because they'll always stay with your photo bag. So that's something I think Tank does with every one of their bags. I use it all the time, very handy. So let's see what kind of camera gear we can hold. So the first piece of gear I'm going to take out is my backup camera. This is my Canon 40D, and on it right now is a 70mm macro from Sigma. So this fits right inside there. I put this in the center console with little flaps to kind of hold it in place so I can just get at it easily. So that fits inside of there. Also inside of here, standing upright, I'll hold this forward a little so you can see I am pulling this out upright, is the 70-200. So this is the, and I just put my finger on the lens. Don't do that, always put your lens caps back on. So this is the 70-200 from Canon. This is about an 7-inch lens. How long is this? This is an 8-inch lens. So it's about 8 inches long. This does have the extended collar on here, which does make it a little more bulky, but it fits inside the Retrospective 7 very easily, even with the collar on. So we can tighten that back down. So that fits inside there nicely. Also inside the Retrospective 7, I have a Lens Baby Composer. So this slaps on your camera. If you've never used this before, this slaps on your camera, and you would adjust your focusing point or adjust your point of focus left, right, up, and down, and then dial in your focus using the manual focusing mechanism. Now we have one point of focus, and everything blurs out from there. So that's pretty cool. Attached onto it is a macro lens modifier that takes things up to macro level, so I just leave that attached if I ever want to use it. Very cool, creative lens to have in your camera bag if you want to shoot something different from what everyone else is doing. So also inside of here, I have a Hoodman loop. For those of you that have never seen this before, this is a very handy thing if you are chimping your shots in the bright daylight hour. So what you can do is you can take this, you put this back on the back of your LCD for your camera lens, and then you can just view right inside of there like that, and you can actually see your photos and not worry about exterior ambient light making it more difficult to view your LCD screen, and that fits squarely on the 40D as well as on the 5D. So that's pretty cool. What else is inside of here? We also have the Canon 10-22 wide angle attached to this. Is my circ polarizer, 77mm. Pretty straightforward. I have a lens cap on that one, so that's a good deal. And also inside of here, I have a teleconverter. This is the Kinko Takina 1.4 TC. This attaches on the any Canon lens, so it's a Canon converter, and it just stops right on there. So I have in my bag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lenses, and I have a couple accessory items, including the little Hoodman loop, including my GorillaPod, batteries, night system, and my iPad as well if I want to do any consumption while I'm on the go. Also inside here, I'll hold this open again, I don't know if you're going to see it or not, but on the very top here are two little flaps that can help keep things folded in nicely. You can pull those back. And then also inside of the bag are two little kind of like bottle containers. It probably wouldn't fit a water bottle. Maybe it might. Well, you know what? I have a water bottle right over here. So why don't we just find out? Here's take a water bottle and see if we can fit that in there. It looks like it might be a little bit on the tight side for that, but you could sensibly stuff something that in there if you wanted to do so. This is just a very small 12-ounce one, so that kind of gives you an idea there as well. Not sure that's something that would be suitable for the camera bag, but it's something that you might be able to do. Another thing you might want to consider for this kind of over-the-shoulder bag would be some kind of pocket, little compact kit here. So here's something like a Leatherman that I take with me when I go out on shoots. Good to have for being in the outdoors. This could easily fit in one of the side pockets, so you could essentially use that in there as well. What else? Inside of here is also a zipper. So there's a zipper where you can put other like security papers, maybe some pens and pencils inside of there as well. Let's say you get some auto releases or a contract. You could have that inside there to really keep it protected from the elements. And then of course you have the pads inside of here. Again, if you can see this or not, there's pads inside of here. These are held on by Velcro, and there are 3 pads across the bottom, and then these 2 go vertical, and they also include, I think, 4 other pads in addition, so you can reconfigure it to your own specifications as you see fit. I didn't bother making any changes to this configuration. I like the default layout. It gives me a great way to hold my camera. So I'm just going to tuck that back down and start putting everything back in. And all this is going to fit inside this little Retrospective 7. So I'll go ahead and take my 7200 and I'll stuff that inside there. And then I'll take my 10-22 and I'll stuff that in. Then just to the front of that, I'll take the teleconverter and I'll stuff that in the front. And I'll go ahead and put away my Hoodman loop. And I'll zip that up in its compartment. And inside its compartment, and stuff that right down the front side as well. Then I'll take my Lens Baby Composer and I'll tuck that on the back side on top of the 10-22. Then I'll take these little straps and I'll just fold them right down on top so it is nice and flush. And last but not least, of course, in the center is the Canon camera, the 40D. So that's what it kind of looks like from the inside there. At that point, I can go ahead and fold this over, and I'll take these straps down. And then the way I package this is I'll pull one leg up on my little GorillaPod here, and I'll take the 2 legs, hold them flat, and pull the Velcro flap over to put the bottom side up, kind of cinch that down. And I'll do that for both the top and the bottom legs. And once I've done that, I'll go ahead and fold that back down. And now I know that that GoPro isn't really going to go anywhere. So it's kind of a neat feature. I don't know if others will do that or not, but kind of a neat feature. And that can fold down right in front. What I will also do is tuck away the waterproof covering case. I'll tuck that down inside of here in the outer shell. Also in the outer shell will be my nighttime light. Then I also will throw inside the inner shell my memory cards. Then I'm ready to close this up, so I'll go ahead and close that up. And I'll pull that down so the Velcro straps can attach, right like that. Then I'll take my battery caddy and I'll throw that in on the side. And then I'll take the iPad and I'll spin it around and throw that in on the back side. Zip that up. And there we are. So we've just packed up a camera bag in just a couple of minutes here. This is the Retrospective from Think Tank the Retrospective 7. One final note, this is kind of a canvas build. So it's got a canvas or a denim texture to it. And I think they call it a slate blue. So you can pick this, I think, in slate blue or black. These straps, of course, will always adjust to your own taste needs. This hand strap will adjust, as well as the shoulder strap. I have this pretty much, well, not pretty much, but I guess you could go a little more out with it. I usually keep mine fully extended just because I'm a tall guy. So there's the shoulder strap, and that's pretty much it for the Think Tank Photo Retrospective 7. Like I said at the beginning of this, some lucky person is going to win this bag. This will come out at the end of the summer giveaway season. So we have the summer contest going on right now. This will be given away the month after that, so we're looking at September, I think, for some lucky person to win this. So I promise I will try and keep this in the best of use, but I did want to give it something of a field test. So this is just an initial preview thoughts kind of test of the Retrospective 7 from the folks over at Think Tank Photo. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time here at the Learning Digital Photography Podcast, home of CanonBlogger.com. Thanks.